to talk to you about the effects and consequences of a habit that's gripped young people en masse and that most people have no idea of. I want to talk about the negative side effects of watching pornography, how it will ruin your romance, spoil your marriage, affect your children, change your tastes, ruin your future sex life with your wife, destroy your affection for your lifetime lover. It's interesting that so few people today are speaking out against pornography. It's like an epidemic. So many people are getting addicted and people don't realise what's wrong with it. It seems so nice. I mean, when before have we had thousands and thousands of girls, beautiful girls, available day and night, 24/7, at the touch of our fingers, on our smartphones, on our laptops, that we can look at undressed? I can understand why people are addicted to this, and I hope in this series that I will give you a strong motivation why you should stop watching porn and leave this habit. I know that some people bunk class to watch porn all day, some people stay up all night, some people pretend they're studying at home and behind their book is their mobile. Some people think no one's watching, but someday in the future their wife will see, someday maybe their daughter will see, maybe God's watching. I want to look at this issue. First of all, just imagine that you went to your class or your college today and suddenly the lecturer is showing a PowerPoint presentation. And as she's going through her PowerPoint presentation, she shows the next photo is your photo naked. And the whole of your class looks and starts laughing. Or maybe you arrive at college and outside your college is this huge poster of you naked. How would you feel? Wouldn't you feel so embarrassed, so ashamed? You would never want to go to that college again. You'd be so upset. You think, who put that there? How can they do that? Yet you would feel offended, correct? If we are offended at people looking at our poster, how much more should we be against pornography, looking at other people's photos? We don't like it when it's us, but it's okay when it's looking at someone else. You know, throughout all of history, people have not looked at other people's wives en masse. Imagine that there was, 30 years ago, guys that get up in the middle of the night and they leave their wives and their families and they go to the next door neighbour's house and they start staring through the window at the new couples doing it or at the young girls in the shower. Such a girl looking through a window is a pervert. That is a perverted thing to do. And today it's not physical windows, but it's Microsoft windows that we're looking through. It's the windows of our laptop or our smartphone that we're looking through after chip swapping or downloading it from the download center or going to the cyber cafe or getting it from friends or on WhatsApp or Facebook. And we are looking at other people's wives. If you got up in the night and your wife, future wife, something in the future, your wife is looking outside the window at men undressing, how would you feel? Would you feel okay that your wife is staring out the window at other guys? And then she's no longer interested in you. Porn seems to be exciting, but porn turns women into objects. The girl on the screen cannot say no to you. There is no love in it. It is reducing the beautiful act into lust. There is lust in love, but making love is making love. It is a two-way thing. It's when you serve someone. You love them so much. You want to minister to them. You want to give to them. You want to satisfy them. And in the process, you are satisfied. That's why it's called making love. Watching porn, that girl can't say no. There is no relationship. It's like going with a prostitute. There's no relationship with the girl. There's no commitment. Porn redefines your emotions. Porn will affect your psyche. Porn will decrease your ability to concentrate on studies or exams or revision or work. Porn will therefore reduce potential and destroy the opportunity for promotion. Porn takes away the innocence of children. It's a menace to families. It causes divorce. It ruins whole society. It inspires rape. It will cause some of you to abuse your own daughter or your brother's daughter or even a little boy. Porn can reverse someone's sexual orientation. And we're going to look at some of these issues very carefully in this series, because we need to get things straight. Because there's a big fat lie going on in the porn industry. One college that I spoke in Bangalore, one guy got up and said, "Sir, I disagree. Porn is good. I learned many, many things from porn." You don't learn anything healthy through pornography. It teaches an unhealthy version of sexuality. It teaches an unethical version of relationships. That porn star is faking it. She is an actress. In real life, it's not like that. Porn will cause unrealistic expectations. Porn will mess up marriages. I've seen so many girls that say, "My boyfriend showed me a clip and forced me to do, I want you to do that." The guy, she said no. And the guy said, "If you don't do that to me, I will leave you." So blackmailed, so many guys blackmailing the girlfriends after watching these lies on pornography. When the girl does it, the guy's not that satisfied and he leaves the girl anyway. And she's scarred and he's become a pervert. So many people nowadays are recording some porn and then blackmailing their girlfriends to sleep with their friends. 25% of high school girls in England, where I'm from, I'm sad to say, and this will happen in India unless there's a movement of young people that say, "This is not okay. Porn is a menace. It's ruining romance. We don't want it." 25% of high school girls expose themselves on their web camera for a better boyfriend or for money. In other words, porn is turning masses of young girls into prostitutes. Do you want your future daughter to be a prostitute? Do you want your daughter to come in the middle of the night and stick a finger up at you? You're walking up and down and it's 11:30 and your daughter's 15, 14. She's gone to a party and you're thinking, "Where is she?" And you're worrying. And your wife's saying, "Stay calm." And she walks in and there's this 18-year-old guy, her boyfriend, 19-year-old guy who she met on social media. She's got bites on her neck, her skirt's very, very short, and she walks straight past you into her room, puts her iPod on, puts the earphones in, locks her door, doesn't come out. This is what is happening across the world. Porn leads to rebellion against parents. It causes friction from the very people that love you, that you're their creation, you're their joy. They created you, they love you, and they may express that in a hard way or find it difficult to express it sometimes. But, and this is being ruined by rebellion and through watching pornography. If someone forces you to watch porn, say no thank you. Never force someone to watch pornography. People shouldn't sell pornography. People shouldn't distribute pornography. They're now putting in India where they can trace which mobile is accessing child or teen porn. That's like high school girls. And they're publicly beginning to disgrace them across the world so that to discourage people from watching any pornography, but especially teen pornography. All pornography is illegal in India according to the 2008 IT Act, Section 67A. It is 5 years in jail for distributing pornography. So if you send an image through WhatsApp, through Bluetooth or chip swapping, it's 5 years in jail. With the superintendents and commissioners of police and inspectors in rescue, we have conducted now at least 10 raids on 10 different shops where the owner of the shop and the boy, unfortunately young boy, that was selling the porn to the granddads down to the high school year 7 boys, was arrested, and now there's court cases going on for 5 years in jail, 5 lakh rupee fine. I don't want to put anyone in jail, but I am appalled that these videos are being distributed which encourages the kidnapping of young girls for the production of this porn. The average guy, if you're watching like 5 hours of porn a week, that means by the time you get married, if you started in high school, you would have seen almost 100,000 porn stars in this way. Do you think that you will be satisfied with your lifetime lover after you're married? You will be disappointed with her. You will be bored with her. She'll be so sad. She'll try and do everything to please you. She'll cook nicely. She'll dress nicely. But because your expectations are so high, because you've oversaturated yourself with so much of these things, you will not be satisfied when the real thing comes along. Stop watching porn. Put porn blocking software on all your digital devices. It's a digital solution to a digital temptation. It will cut all porn. You may have to be willing to cut off YouTube for a season, but it's well worth it. Porn is a twisted version of relationships. It extols rape and mutilation. It desensitizes guys to the horror and violation of abuse and rape. In India, Mera Bharat Mahan, we have a 1.3% divorce rate. In England now, and America and the Western countries, we have a 60% divorce rate. That means most of the young lovers, after they get married, end up in such disputes that they're separating. The children don't have a mum or don't have a dad now, and they're separated, all the heartache of a separation. And do you know what? Half of the reason for these divorces, or we could say the most common reason, is no longer money, not arguments about the in-laws, not arguing itself. It's one reason. The wife comes home and is not willing to share her husbands with the porn stars. Porn will lead you to get so lustful that you won't be satisfied with your wife. You'll want to go with someone else. You may get caught. My best friend at high school was a good guy. And he came home one day early and he found his wife in bed with another guy. Jealousy gripped him. He grabbed his hunting rifle and he shot his wife's lover. He was put in prison for 10 years. This was my really good friend. He was a good guy. He wasn't a bad guy. I think that it was the lady's fault. She had violated the lifetime covenant of romance and love shortly after them getting together. And so, was it really making love? We have this in the movies today, that they run into bed with someone. Is this really making love? She made love to this guy. He ends up being shot, and her husband ends up getting put in prison for 10 years. No. She was not making love to that guy. She was making hate. Unless love has commitment. You see your boyfriend or girlfriend or your fiance kissing someone else in the park. How do you feel? You go to a party and they're talking to someone else all the time. How do you feel? You know that there is a jealousy in love, which is absolutely right. It should be like that. So then, how can we break this seal between two people? How can we violate it by bringing in thousands of other ladies into our relationship that we're looking at? If you watch porn, you are robbing your lifetime lover, your wife, of the affection that should be hers alone. Those porn stars are destroying marriage, destroying lifetime lovers. They know nothing about sex. The ladies in Iceland recently rose up and they said, we want all pornography blocked in Iceland. And I think this should happen in India. We should rise up, we should campaign until it's completely blocked in India. We wouldn't allow 1,000 naked men or women to run across the streets of India. So why are we allowing millions of naked men and women to run in public in India? The internet is a public place. Little children can access it. We shouldn't have a double standard. If it's not okay for the high school, then it's not okay for the internet. If you want porn on the internet, then what you're saying is it's okay to bring porn stars in to make out in the assembly on Monday morning in the schools. If that's not okay, then it's not okay to have them making out in the internet, because children access the internet. There is no age restriction. They can access it completely. And the Iceland ladies, the reason why they said they wanted all porn blocked, and by the way, blocking porn is very, very easy, even though there's 50 million pornographic websites, and people say we can't block it. Whenever they're saying that, you have to think, is that person addicted to porn? You see, a normal laptop is 4 gigahertz. That means 4,000 million calculations per second. So 50 million websites to block is not a problem for computers today. Many countries have already done this. Countries that are saying, let's take the right restriction, make the right restriction. It's not draconian. It's not enforcing, taking away people's rights. People don't have the right in public to be naked. It's something that's within private, within their houses, hopefully within marriage. There is no double standard here. It's the same standard in public, in the school, should be given to the internet. If the film industry, which is potentially less harmful than the internet, is censored, then how much more should the internet be censored? It is not acceptable. So the ladies in Iceland, they found that their husbands were at first showing them great affection and after their marriage, but then they began to smash them in the face when they were making out, and then they would lose interest in their wife altogether, and they'd wake up in the middle of the night and their husbands, instead of being interested in them, they were on their laptops, on their mobiles. They were in the night getting excited with thousands of other ladies, but not interested in their own wife. Porn ruins romance. I urge you, stop watching pornography. Thank you. I'd like to talk and explain about how pornography is so addictive. Most drunkards, they won't accept they're addicted to alcohol. The only time people realise they're addicted to something is when they try and stop that habit, and they can't. I want to explain how progressive, like other bad habits, pornography is. Pornography, you think you start on alcohol with wine and then you get bored, it loses its effect and you go on to whiskey, you start on marijuana, you go to cocaine or heroin. All bad habits are progressive because they're not natural. Pornography is not natural, and after watching it for a few years, just BFs or photos, it doesn't have the same buzz anymore. So you have to search for something more sinister, more dark, more perverse, more violent, or the girl, the porn star, has to be younger and younger, or it has to be more and more exotic or weird. This has a great danger because it reprograms the psyche of a human being. It's like human being 2.0. I want to talk about one of these progressions of pornography, and it's what I call the violent routes. It's called making love, not making hate. But today, if you watch pornography for years, you start to enjoy having the girl screaming rather than kissing. And as we mentioned in previous sessions, that ladies en masse around the world have wondered why their husband starts pinching them and then punching them and smashing them. And why there's a section on bondage on every porn website today. According to my research of 4,000 undergraduates and +1, +2 boys, 30% at high secondary or PUC level will watch regularly rape, and 40% at undergraduate level. If you're watching pornography, that means you have a 43% chance of end up watching rape. So even if you're not watching it now, it is because of the addictive nature, because it doesn't satisfy longer term, you are likely to get bored and to start watching this rape. Now, on average, in each state in India, so you can understand how much of an issue this is, 1 million rapes are watched by +1, +2, that's 11, up to graduation, degree college, professional colleges. That age group, those 5 years, 1 million rapes are watched per day. One of my staff, after hearing about this topic, she went home to check her younger brother's inbox in his mobile. And the first video she saw in his inbox was a gang rape. He was 14 years old. If you go on Google today and just type in some of these things, in the top 10 will come a gang rape. You know, rape is a violation of girls. It is the most horrible abuse. In the Daughters of India banned a video about the Delhi bus gang rape. The guy said the girl should have just enjoyed it. You see, porn desensitizes guys to the horror. They think that they should enjoy it. Okay, for the guys watching, let me try and explain the horror of a rape. First of all, the age of the rapist is getting lower and lower today because of this addiction to violent porn. The average age of the girl who's being raped is getting lower, and the level of violence is increasing. My mum phoned me from England to Mysore near Bangalore after the Delhi bus gang rape of a few years ago. It was international news what they did to that girl, and everyone was saying, why could they do that? Because they'd reprogrammed themselves. They'd allowed themselves to enjoy the combination of sexual satisfaction with pain, screaming. That became the excitement. Is that what you want to reprogram yourself? Don't you think that if you watch this, you will desire it? You know, we have banned the tobacco adverts today because of the proven link between looking at the advert for tobacco and desiring to smoke itself. The whole advertising industry shows that whatever we advertise and people look at and desire does affect their buying choices or their choices and affections. If we continue to allow violent porn to be on the internet, we are advertising rape. Porn, not pornography, and violent pornography advertises rape 1 million times a day in each state in India. We've increased the sentences to like 20 years recently in India for gang rape. Good that the government of India has taken it seriously. However, it's still not decreasing. And just making it more and more sentence is good, but we need to stop advertising, stop feeding the system. You see, Lady India is moving away from the river of life, her higher virtues and traditional values. And she's coming to a sewage work, and she's picking up a piece of shit, and it's got the name porn on it, and she's smelling it and saying, oh my goodness, it smells so nice, and she's beginning to lick it and taste it and eat it, and she doesn't realize it's poisoning her whole system. People who enjoy porn, you need to realize this does poison your system, you individually and this nation en masse. And there needs to be a movement of young people that says, no more poison of pornography. We're going to stand against this. We're going to rise up against this. I did these seminars in the professional colleges in Belgium. And after I left, there was 250 girls from 10 colleges and some guys who did a riot, who did a march on the streets and called the press. And they took 2 banners. I mean, they took lots of banners, but there were 2 types. And one of the banners said, we will never marry a guy who watches pornography. I think the girls should rise up and do that in other places. Now, we were talking about the progression of porn and the horror of violent pornography. You know, we've been seeing almost every week in the news the increase in rape across India, 30,000 rapes a year now. And not only rape, but abuse and other things, human trafficking. However, what's most shocked people is when someone will rape a primary school girl. And everyone says, you know, how could a guy, she's not even a sexual being, she's not mature. How can someone want to, how can someone want to rape, but how can someone desire and want to rape even a young girl? You see, this is what pornography will do to you. It will turn you into a paedophile. It may turn you into a rapist. And guys that watch porn for years, they get bored with 30-year-olds, they want 20-year-olds. You know, then they say, come on, this girl's not younger than me. And the older men want younger and younger. And the young guys want girls that are younger than them. And so if you keep going like this, it becomes younger and younger. And that's why we're seeing these rape of these primary school people. It's making love, not making hate. I can explain it like this to make guys understand. We have a phenomenon now in the West of rape of guys. Yes, I said where a guy, like an undergraduate guy, is raped by a gang of homosexuals. And what happens is a group of guys will grab and literally rape a young guy. Now, how would you feel if 10 homosexual men started putting parts of their body in your face and inserting in other areas? How would you feel about that? I could think personally, I think I would rather die than that happen. Now you can understand the horror of what a rape is to a girl. And if someone at a party, you really like them, they're a really good friend, you really like them, and they come and kiss you on the hand or cheek, and you feel really nice. But if someone you don't like, or an ugly girl, forces herself on you and kisses you, how do you feel? No, you see, it's making love. There has to be love in it. And a rape is not a choice. It's someone that you don't want to do this to you. And so that's why it's so horrible. And watching porn desensitizes guys to the horror of the act of rape. Girls should be careful what they wear. If girls dress like this, then of course it's going to increase their chances of being raped. The girls most at risk of being raped are girls that dress inappropriately, and girls who will prostitute themselves, will sell themselves for money. One day they come along and instead of one guy, 5 guys come in and they're gang raped. Girls, don't give yourself for money. It's the most dangerous thing you can do. You don't know what's going to come along or come through that door. You may never be able to get out again. Don't give yourself away. Your marriage will become a terror, a torture instead of a pleasure. Girls can dress like this when they're engaged, when they're married, when they want to inspire their husband. You don't want someone to marry you just because of lust or your features. You want someone to marry you because they love you, because they're committing themselves to you, the person, something more than just the body. The body's important, but there should be something much more, because sometimes we get bored after 5 years, but there's something deeper comes along called love, which can be inspired when we dress like this to inspire our lifetime sleeping partner, our spouse, our husband, or our wife. There is a place for this dress. It is when you're engaged. It is when you're preparing to be married, to inspire that young guy. That is what it's for. And that's good, but don't play with it. Don't throw it out. It's crazy. It's foolish. Get home at a decent time. Don't talk too late to your friend in the night on your mobile. You don't know what he's watching at that time, what he's thinking about when he's talking to you. Have a time limit. Never date 2 people at once. That's violating the essence of a relationship. The Commissioner of Police, or the SP of Police in Bangalore, said 75% of convicted rapists have violent pornography on their computer. 66% of the guys we surveyed said watching rape leads to the desire to do rape. Even if 10% of them actually, or 5% go on to do rape, that means we are raising up hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of new guys, new rapists every year in each state in India through pornography. Pornography is the school for rapists. Watch it and you're being trained, you're being deceived into a false version. Do you want to be a monster? You've got different plans for your life. Is part of that plan to be a rapist? I don't think so. I don't think that's who you are. I really don't believe. I believe it's a deception you didn't realize. So what you need to do is say, if my right hand causes me to sin, I'm going to cut it off. Better to enter heaven without my right hand than to go down with a healthy body. And if YouTube is causing you to sin, uninstall it. Put K9 or another porn blocking software. There are 20 free apps. K9 can be installed on your mobile, your laptop, Android, Microsoft, Apple. It will work on all digital devices. It will block all pornography. Yes, you can't use your own Chrome browser or your own choice of browser. It will put another browser which will block all the pornography. But it's well worth it. Thank you. I'd like to talk about how watching porn affects young girls, high school girls, and causes them to be kidnapped, abducted en masse in India today. Some of you have watched a porn clip and you've looked at the young girl and you've looked at her face, you've looked at the expression in her face, and you know that she was being violated and that she was not being paid. She was being forced to do this, and you felt really guilty when you started watching this because you knew something was wrong and yet you were enjoying it. Now, this phenomenon is called human trafficking, and it's how 1,000 girls from, on average, each state in India are abducted. High school girls, under 18, like +1, +2 in high school, are abducted every month in each state in India to be forced into prostitution and to make this pornography. And there are two ways that these two things are connected. So many people say to me, "Sir, it doesn't affect anyone if I watch porn. Well, it will affect you, it will ruin your marriage," as we've already looked at. But also, you know, because 30–40% of young guys want to see teen porn today. You know, no girl wants to do this for a living. This is not her career choice. And so what happens is, because there's such a demand, because so many crows of guys and men want young videos of young girls, anyone that puts it there gets masses of traffic and earns more money from advertising on their websites. And also, there's such a demand. Business Principle 101 says the supply will meet the demands. Every time you watch a young girl being abused or teenage porn, it is contributing, feeding the system of attacking en masse young innocent girls. And this is what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about how these girls are captured, how they are broken so that they will submit to be sex slaves, how they're abused and forced to do prostitution and make this porn. But before I go there, there is another thing. You see, if you watch porn, you get bored with it. It's progressive habit. You drink wine, you go to whiskey, drugs, marijuana is illegal in most countries, even though it's less harmful than alcohol, because of the proven link that when people start taking marijuana, they will desire to take a higher level drug. And so, because the higher level drugs are so destructive, then the entry level is made illegal to stop people entering into this bad habit. It's the same with porn. When we see the fruits, we realize the roots are evil. And if you can understand where your porn habit is leading, I really believe you'll rise up and you'll say, I'm not going to watch this anymore. This is not for me. I'm better than this. I'm going to do the right thing. And I'm going to wait and really enjoy my marriage and my lifetime lover. But what happens if someone watches porn, they get bored with watching like 19-year-olds, and after some years, it's more exciting, there's a greater buzz to have a 15-year-old. And do you know what happens when by the time you're 30, you don't want 15-year-olds anymore. You want 12-year-olds. By the time you're 40, you're looking at primary school girls being abused. Is this what you want in your life? Is this the progression that you want? Is this the training you want? It's not natural. You're oversaturating one area of your life. We eat too much, it's unhealthy. We drive too fast, we have more chance of having an accident. We oversaturate our sexual desires. It will spoil ourselves, our future relationships, our children, and our nation. And it's the girls that suffer the most through this human trafficking. In a party, one guy gets you in the corner, say you're a girl, and starts to abuse you, you scream. How about if that happens every day for the rest of your life? Every night, one guy that you don't like comes up to you and starts abusing you, touching you inappropriately, and trying to kiss you when you're not interested. How about if they go all the way and actually rape you? Say 10 guys do that. Say it happens every day. That's what's happening to these girls that are abducted. Ashwani Kumar, the former head of CBI, gave a conservative estimate of how often this is happening. And he said 2 lakhs under 18 girls are abducted every year in India for Indian brothels. And UNICEF, United Nations for Children, and World Health Organization have said that many times more than this number are abducted for the brothels internationally. The World Health Organization said India is the #1 easy target to abduct young girls. I'm a foreigner, but I can't bear the thoughts that the daughters of India are being abducted en masse, and that they will be gang raped every night for the rest of their lives until they die of AIDS. And primarily it's being fueled because of porn. People that watch porn, they want younger and younger girls. Then what happens? They can't get that age of a girl for a girlfriend. So if they want to actually try it out with a girl, which is what it leads to, most guys say watching porn affects their sexual appetites and behavior. And they're watching young girls and then they want to try it out with a young girl. And so they'll go to the brothel and demand a trafficked girl so they can do anything with her. So they want a trafficked girl so they can have her screaming and torture her while they're doing it. And they want a trafficked girl because these are the only ones that are under 18. I have a friend who works for Project Rescue India, and he's rescued 1,400 young girls from prostitution. And he risks his life, and there are many now, amazing NGOs. The president of Rescue, he's used to be teaching in the colleges like this. He said, now I have to do action, I've got to do something about it. So he's leaving Rescue and he's joining an organization which goes into the brothels and finds out any children. They don't actually use the prostitutes, but they sort of act around, and then they go back in with the police and they get the pimps. They go after the men and the women that are selling these little innocent girls' bodies and making money out of it. And as they go in and, we need more and more people that are going to give their life to rescuing girls in this way. But what I want to do is break the roots of this human trafficking. Because when guys watch it, they desire younger girls, they want to try it out. When they go to the brothels and demand a younger girl, the brothels have learned today that if they have younger and younger girls, they'll have more business. My friend that works for Project Rescue India, he said 20 years ago or 15 years ago, it was one young girl in a brothel. He said now it's almost 50% that are under 18. There is such a demand, even though they charge so much more for younger girls. Still, there's such a demand there, and 10 crow child porn clips are watched every day by young guys in India. 20 million guys in India are watching this. Even if a small fraction want to try it out, that's a massive number. Demanding young prostitutes, increasing this what's going on. In the next video, we want to look at how this is going on, how they are capturing and forcing these girls and training them, and I hope that the reality of seeing how watching child porn and teen porn affects young girls will cause you to decide, I'm not going to watch pornography anymore. There are so many sad parents around the world whose daughter has disappeared. She didn't run off with her lover. What happened was she was abducted, and they find out afterwards that their daughter is being forced to make pornography. Their daughter is being forced to be a prostitute. Many of these guys become policemen, and they go out hunting after these pimps and human traffickers. I want to talk about how girls in India today are being captured. And if you're a young lady, you're going to learn this shouldn't happen to you. 1 in 200 girls are trafficked in India. So if there's 1,000 girls in your college, this is happening statistically to 5 of them, but should not ever happen to anyone. We mentioned earlier that this is not a small issue anymore. About 1,000 girls from each state each month this is happening to. You see, you should be careful about meeting someone on social media and then trusting them and going off with them to McDonald's. See, a guy will be a predator. He may be more handsome than any of your other boyfriends, and he will say, come, let's go to a coffee day. And 2 times he's building up your confidence, and then he'll say, let's go to Chennai for the day, or Uti. And you're never seen again. Halfway to Uti, you went into this village house and you said, what is this place? And he said, no, it's okay. You get inside the door and there's 2 men guarding the door. As soon as you go inside, they close the door. His face instantly changes. He goes up to the table and gets his 5 lakhs for delivering you to this place where they break girls and make them into forced prostitutes. You've just become a prostitute against your will. You will never see your mum again. You will never see your dad again or go to college again. You have been kidnapped in present day slavery. This should not happen to you. Follow your heart. Don't trust everyone. There's a voice in our conscience, perhaps from God, that tells us the truth. If you use your beauty to get assignments from guys, if you use your beauty and think that it can influence everyone, you are setting yourself up to be deceived. That that you can use your beauty to make money, and one day someone will come along and say, hey, there's a new television show and we would like you to come and for us do some dancing. And they'll say 20,000 and you'll be traveling the world and you'll be meeting famous people. Don't believe it. And they'll say, don't tell your parents. See, if it's genuine, they'll go through the correct authorities. Young girls, when they're desperate, when they've lost their lover, when they want more money, or they're promised a high-paying job in Delhi or Chennai, be very careful these days, because en masse, this horror is happening. We in England have a dark part of our history where we had slavery, took people from Africa, and in the end we had to rise up and say this is not right. But today we have even more, a greater form of slavery. It's worse form of slavery. It's also torture, it's sex slavery. It's being done because making porn has become with human trafficking, that it's becoming the largest criminal activity in the world today. It's hard to stop this because it's such a big criminal activity, second only to, sometimes in some countries, drugs, but always second only to arms, the criminal arm industry and weapons is this issue. Okay, how are these girls captured? It may be through meeting on social media. There were some girls who finished their degree in Delhi, and they begged their fathers to send them with reputed travel agents to Calcutta. They had a very expensive tour guide. Someone spotted this guy going around with these 3 middle-class beautiful girls, taking them to see the sights in Calcutta. And on the second day of their week trip in Calcutta, they offered the driver of the tour guide 1 lakh for each girls. By the 4th day, it was 2 lakhs for each girls. At first he said no, but eventually he caved in, and he moved his family out of Calcutta. And he took these girls on their last day. Instead of going to the airport, he went to a remote place where these girls never came out of. It can happen to poor girls or rich girls, educated or uneducated, promising them being models, dancers, better work. They can be tricked by a marriage alliance when they don't know the family. They can be tricked by their own husbands, their own relatives. Some people today sell their own children, thinking they're going to get a better education. Don't believe the lie. They're not buying your child to pay for his food for 10 years to be a servant in 10 years' time. They're buying that child to sell that baby to perverted men who have been so into porn that now they want babies. These girls, they will go inside when they're driven by their so-called lover to a remote house. There'll be security each side of the door. They'll close the door and they won't be allowed out. And the guy will collect his 3 to 5 lakhs, and then the girl will be screaming, and then but she'll never see her parents again, never go to college again. This shouldn't happen to any of you. And one of my friends, their servant was offered a better job, and the family pleaded, no, we don't feel right about this. 7 years later, she was delivered on the floor outside their house, smelling, used to a horrible state. She was so sick, they put her straight in hospital. She died within 3 days of AIDS and other venereal diseases. She thought she was getting a better job, but she was forced into prostitution for 7 years. The biggest people who have chances of being human trafficked are girls who sell their bodies for their classmates or guys in their college. One day, instead of that one guy who's paid a few thousand rupees to use your body coming through that door, 5 guys will come through that door. They will gang rape you. They will then take you off to another location, and you will be trafficked. You will be taken across the world in boxes. You'll be chained. You'll be forced again and again to do these horrible things. When a girl is abducted in this way, then first of all they have to break her so that she's willing to sleep with all these different guys, 10 guys a night. 10 ugly, perverted, old guys. Guys, just to understand this, imagine you had to do it. You were forced to do it. Otherwise they'd kill you with a very old lady, very ugly lady. You had to kiss and do everything with a very, very old lady. How would you feel? That's how you can understand what a girl feels like when she's forced to do this. But you think, why would she just not run away? Well, they're locked up. Well, why would she agree? She could just say, no, I'm not going to do it. They are slaves. It is sex slavery. The first week, they break the girl. They make her drink. They show her porn. They drug her. They beat her continuously. They rape her continuously. They torture her for 4 to 5 days until she agrees. If the customer isn't satisfied, they will beat her again. They will then take her out to do parties where she has to go with 5 guys. She comes back to the brothel. She then again has to keep working in that brothel. If she gets sick, they don't treat her. It is horrific. And it's going on today. And it has to be and will be stopped by lots of people rising up and saying, if porn leads to this, we're going to cut our porn. This is not acceptable. In the army, they are trained to withstand torture, and but when they're captured, they rarely last more than 2 weeks. Even a trained soldier being tortured, tormented, beaten, denied sleep and food will cave in within 2 weeks. How much more a high school girl within a few days becomes so terrified of her new owners, the pimps, that she'll become a submissive slave. She'll do whatever she's told rather than be beaten. Yes, this is happening en masse. You'll see another video on this section of 4 girls that were rescued recently in Andhra Pradesh from such conditions, and they give their stories, which makes this all the more, the reality of this, it makes it even more clear. They are forced into prostitution. They become sex slaves. They're locked up day and night. If one girl tries to escape, they will kill that girl in front of all the others as a lesson. They will threaten to kill her parents or her family members, or if she's an older girl, her daughter, if she tries to escape. They have to serve 10 to 12 ugly, perverted, often old customers per night. They are violent, abusive, and do perverse acts. They stick their parts of their body anywhere on her or on her face. When some guys go to brothels, they specifically ask, not for a paid prostitute, but for a trafficked girl, someone that's been abducted in this way, because then they can be violent to her. Then they can do what they've seen on perverted pornography. They can try out all sorts of new moves and things. And it means they get a very young girl. So there's such a demand for this. This is why they're abducting more and more. On average, in each district, on average in India, 500 girls are kidnapped a year. And 1,000 per month in each state of India for internal and minimal international sex trafficking of under 18 girls. So just think of your district, as each year a whole college of girls goes missing. Sometimes we think they run off with their lover, but the lover's still there. They make investigations. The boyfriend that she had is still there. What's happened to her? Look at the back page of the local paper. You'll see all the girls that have gone missing. Think of your state. Every month, 1,000. 2 colleges go missing of girls every month in your state. You need to be careful. This is why your dad won't let you out late. He won't let you go to those parties. He protects you because he knows something you don't. You shouldn't get into a car with someone you don't know. Be careful. Follow your heart. Don't use your beauty to attract guys. Comparing rape to human trafficking. We think of rape as so bad, and it is. 30,000 rapes a year, but let's just compare the numbers, and we'll see that rape that gets reported and rape that's unreported is only the tip of the iceberg. When a girl gets gang raped, if she survives, she has it one night. But the girls that get trafficked, they have this every night. Now, a girl, when she's in a brothel, she's forced to do it with this guy. She's not making love, she is being raped. Understand it. When someone's forced into prostitution and the guy pays and goes with her, if she's abducted in there, she is being raped. And therefore, if 10 guys come, what is that? That's gang rape. In other words, these girls are gang raped every night for an average 8 years until they die of AIDS or while trying to escape. That means that, using those statistics, if it's 1,000 rapes per annum per state in India, but there are 70,000 trafficked girls in each state of India on average, internal and external. So there's 70, within the brothels, there are 70,000 gang rapes per day per state in India because of human trafficking, because each night that is their experience. So rape is a terrible thing, but human trafficking is 25,000 times a bigger issue. and it's fed by all these DVDs and all these blue films. Let's stop raising up an army of lakhs and lakhs of paedophiles. There was one lady in my team, she spoke on these topics to so many colleges, and one night her husband said, look, my boss will give you 10,000 rupees if you will sleep with him. Let's do it. Just so some girls, they come and say, look, 40,000 rupee, this hush puppy, this rich old guy, he'll give you 40, just do it once, get your medical fees and then forget about it. You will never forget about it. You'll be scarred. Your marriage, instead of being a pleasure, may become painful. Girls, don't sell your bodies. You may get 10,000, but you'll ruin 50 years of sex with your husband, your future husband. I believe that when people realize how pornography is produced today, and when they see the horror of what is going on amongst the girls, that people rise up and say, we have got to stop this distribution of pornography. We cannot no longer separate soft porn from hard porn. We see the link, and you yourself put on porn blocking software. Yes, you may have to lose some of your WhatsApp friends. You exit that group, unfriend some people that send you porn. You have to fight it. If a virus comes on your computer, you keep downloading antivirus. The same way that we fight viruses on our computer, we have to fight porn on our computer. You may have to lose YouTube on your smartphone. You can still have YouTube and put K9 software on your laptop. You can put an exception, put YouTube, and be very careful, adjust the security and the privacy levels on YouTube itself. But I believe that seeing this, we will change. Thank you.